Hey friends, and welcome back. I have some very exciting updates to share with everyone today. First, I'd like to say that I have already used everything that I have harvested on the last video. If you saw the little short video that I posted, I made this very nice spring pasta using some of the things I harvested from here. So I made a kale pesto and used some of the herbs that I had harvested here from the garden to garnish it, and it was really good. Some other exciting thing that happened is that I have received some of my Dahlia Tubers. If you have been following me on Instagram, you actually saw that I received this about a week ago, but I haven't really had a chance to come out here and talk about it yet. They've been still in their little packages, and in the instructions that came with them say that I should leave them in room temperature for about 2 weeks so they start waking up before planting. They did start waking up already. I have a little bud right here and one of them. This is this variety that I'm not gonna attempt to say because I know I'm definitely not going to pronounce that right with my accent, but this is from the Hudson Valley Seed Company. They come like this with this little, I think it's like peat moss, a little dried soil mix, I guess, to keep them cozy, but it was dried when I got here, so I kept it dry. I don't want to add any moisture and risk rotting the tubers. So the second one is this one here. It's got Sonic Bloom Dahlia. It's very pretty. I actually, when I went to the Hudson Valley Seed Company last year, not the time I made a little vlog about, I bought some dahlias from them, and I did see that variety in there they're selling, and it was so beautiful, so I bought it. And here's the tuber, also with a little eye, which is very, very exciting. When they came, I didn't notice them. They are showing up after they have been in room temperature. But now I am researching how to start Dahlia tubers indoors because it's my first time growing them. Kind of want to make sure they're gonna do well. I've seen a lot of people doing them inside. I see a lot of people with Dahlia seedlings already repotting and planting them out now. So I'm sure it will be okay. And I also got this seed potatoes from them. Came in the same order. I ordered this right by the time that I did that little vlog. I can't remember exactly right now when I visited, but they only ship by the time you said to plant them, so by April, and they came together. This is 1 pound of seed potatoes. Those are the Adirondack Blue variety. There are 5 little potatoes inside here, and I planted them last year and I really liked it. They grew well, the color was beautiful. I made this cool purple potato chips out of it, so I'm very excited to plant them out too. I have watched my planting potato videos. Those potatoes that I got there, they were from the farmers market, so I have no idea what the varieties were, but there is a bit of a controversy about planting store-bought potatoes because you don't know if they have any disease on them. Those seed potatoes that you buy from seed companies, they are certified disease-free. So that's why some people would say that they will only grow seed potatoes and not from store-bought. I completely understand that, but because I was not putting my potatoes into a raised bed or anything, I added them to containers. I thought it was okay to do it. Plus I wanted to run an experiment, see how they would do. I did plant a few last year too from the farmers market. Just know that those potatoes that you buy from a seed company, they're usually a bit more expensive, but they have that disease-free certification on them. I'm going to plant this very shortly. I also thought to do a little mini garden tour in this little video because the plants have just grown so much from this past week. They just look very nice right now, and because there are not a ton of bugs yet, mostly the plants are looking very healthy. Their leaves are all nice and green. There's no holes in them, so I really want to show them to everyone before the bugs move in and start doing some damage, because that's, you know, inevitable. And I like to approach pest control in a more natural way. I try not to add any neem oil or BT or any of these things that are approved for organic gardening. Only if it gets really bad and I really feel afraid that I'm going to lose a lot of stuff, but thankfully that hasn't happened yet. So what I usually do with pest control, I just try to encourage some beneficial bugs into my garden too. And the way that I do that is just planting a very diverse garden. There's all kinds of stuff everywhere, and I have started a ton of seeds, all different varieties. And last year something very interesting happened. It's in one of the garden tours, I can't remember which month, but I had my long Chinese beans growing in my little improvised trellis in the front yard, and it was full of aphids. In the garden tour I said, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do something about this. There's so much is infested. and I forgot about it, which happens all the time. You know, the week went by, I was a little bit busy with work. Summer was really busy season for me, and I just kept coming home and I have to do this, I have to remember to put some neem oil, and I just kept postponing it. And it was time to film the next week garden tour, and I noticed a bunch of ladybugs larvae into the beans, and half of the aphids are gone. And then I was like, wow, I'm actually so grateful that I didn't put the neem oil in there. So I gave this great food source for the ladybug larvae to prey on and move into my garden. So with that in mind, I've been trying this year, after learning more about permaculture and everything too with the course that I took, I am just trying to encourage a diverse environment that will have lots of colors and lots of different scents to attract a variety of bugs that will hopefully balance out each other with the ones that harm the garden, the ones that are beneficial for the garden. Let's see how it goes through the season. Obviously, if there's something that's very predominant and is very hurting one of my crops, I might consider doing it, but I'm just trying to have this more hands-off approach this year. So let's take a look at this beautiful green, shall we? Let's start here with this cauliflower. I don't really know if you guys can really see in the camera the amount of growth, but this is grown so much since last week. This leaf, it's huge. It might start forming a head soon. This was overwintered. It's a shaded cauliflower, and I was not sure if it was going to survive the winter or not, but it did, and now it's looking very big like this. This is a cauliflower that I have actually planted from seed very early too, in February. And it's a big difference between them, of this overwintered one and the one from seed. I'm very curious to see really how long more this is going to take to form a head, and how long this one here is going to take to form a head too. That right there in the green stalk is also a cauliflower. Those two were planted at the same time, but that one here doesn't get as much sun. Oh no, it's actually pretty big now that I turn it. Let me see. Oh yeah, it's looking good. I thought this one was not getting as much sun, but it looks good. But this one I think is a tiny bit bigger than that one. And I have actually transplanted some Chinese broccoli out around this. This is supposed to be a very fast crop. It'll be ready in about 50 days. So I'm going to harvest this hopefully before this guy starts forming a head, so they won't compete for nutrients as much. If I feel that these guys are growing too fast and harming this, I might just harvest this soon and eat the leaves. Biggest growth here that I've been seeing is on this brown green stalk. This is also overwintered kale. It was the same in the same seedling tray as this guy here. That's a bit hot for them today, and they're bolting. There is happening to them exactly what happened to those two over here, and they also are shading the other plants underneath. So I'll have to soon harvest the bottom leaves of those, just so these guys here can get a bit more sun and continue growing. This cabbage doesn't seem to be minding the shade at all. It's still looking really good, but I'm starting to see just some bug damage. I just noticed this little hole here. But overall, all of the greens are looking really good, even though I have seen some of the cabbage moths flying around already. They haven't chosen to lay any eggs in the garden yet, which I am very grateful for so far, but I also know that it will happen. So for now, I'm just enjoying those beautiful green nice leaves. And on this side here, there's a strawberry. It's looking good. I did decide to pinch the flowers. I read that if it's the first year of planting strawberries, it's good to pinch them until about May, so it will send its energy to actually making stronger roots instead of bearing fruit, and that way the plant's going to become stronger and it's going to actually bear more fruit in the long run. And some of the carrots that I sowed at the same time that I transplanted the seedlings when they were tiny are finally starting to sprout. Carrots can take, this is a carrot seedling, that one is a weed, so I'm going to take that out. But carrot seeds can take a very long time to germinate. Sometimes they can take up to 28 days, 21 to 28 days. So only now they're starting to show up. Same with the ones down here. That's one there, that's one here. This one probably got washed off to the side when I watered because it's very here in the corner. I'm just going to leave them there. Carrots don't like to have its roots disturbed, so it's better to sow in place and leave them as is. But very interesting to see that I sowed these seeds the same day that I transplanted those greens, and how much growth these have had and how much time those seeds needed to germinate, which is actually a good thing because I knew that I wanted more sun to come to this side, and while those seedlings back there needed some time to germinate, I wouldn't be needing to turn this planter so much, so these guys could get a lot more sun in the beginning of the season. On this green stock here, I have transplanted things later, so they are not growing as fast as these guys are. And also I had this, look at this, it's so beautiful. This broccoli here was on the same day as his broccoli, but this guy was getting a lot of shade because I had this planter more rotated towards the front, so I get those guys to grow faster. That guy definitely suffered and received a bit less sun than everyone else, so it is growing in a bit on this lower side, but some of other things are doing good. This calendula, even though it was on the same shady side, seems to be doing really well. It's growing quite fast. And the flowers that I used for the focaccia on the last video too were these ones here. Look how many they all have still. You can see there's the little things in here that I took, you know, the little stems here that I took the other flowers from, but now they're just, another one here, they got new little buds and are full of new flowers, so I really love that. So I gotta harvest some more to make some fun stuff soon. And here on this bench I potted some nasturtiums that were the grow light room downstairs, but because the tomatoes are needing a lot of space now, I had to move a few things out here, but they're doing good. I've been slowly acclimating them. And eggplants are huge, they're doing so good. They are by this time probably fully acclimated. This whole week I have been putting them in the greenhouse and little outside here to get some sun. They spent the whole day outside yesterday and they're fine. The leaves are looking good, not looking burnt or anything. In fact, they're really growing. And for these peppers, they're really growing nicely too. I have pinched the top of one of them to show you guys something. So if you have some experience with gardening, you might already know this, but if you're not, if you're just starting, there's a little interesting thing that happens to peppers. It is a bit controversial. I know that some gardeners here in the northern part of the US say to never pinch their pepper plants, otherwise they're not gonna get enough peppers. Last year I had a great luck with pinching my peppers and getting a bushy growth and getting a lot of harvest, so I'm doing it again. Also, I do start them inside, so I have that little extra time to play with. But look at those two pepper plants were started, they're the same varieties, they were starting the same day. This one got a little bit of cat damage. You can see these little things are chewings from my cat. She likes to nibble on the pepper plants sometimes. But this one here it's already budding. You see there's some flower buds in here. So same thing like the strawberries, it's recommended that you pinch them out in the beginning so they can send their energy to the roots to grow a stronger root system, which will result in a more resilient, stronger plant. But even if this was not happening, usually after you have about 6 to 8 leaves of the new true leaves, not those first two ones here, you could pinch the top and that will send some growth hormone to these little armpits over here and encourage new branches to come out from these sides, which have happened to the one here because I pinched this one. I have had a lot of luck with this, and doing this is very simple. You can just get a scissor and clip the top. What I like to do, this one has 2, 4, 6, 8, there's like 10. You could just get a little scissor and clip it, or I just do it with my nail and I'll just pinch the top. So I'll take this top off and the plant's going to look like this. So I know it's hard to do, but after a few weeks it's going to be looking like this. So a lot bushier and with a lot of growth from the base, which means that once this happens it's going to get nice and bushy instead of getting this one single stem here, which could cause the pepper plant to also get top heavy. So if it produces a lot of peppers in here, it can just fall because it's heavy. In fact, I can show you that with one of my overwintered peppers. My neighbor that used to live in this unit that we moved in right now was also a great gardener. She grew a lot of things, and this was one of the peppers, and she didn't pinch it, which is okay, but you can see that there's this very long tall stem and it branched out a little bit on the top. I did prune it when she left it here for me to overwinter, but you can still see that there's in the base is very long and tall. Now this pepper that I have pinched young has a lot of very sturdy big branches coming all the way from the bottom and coming up to be this big bushier plant. So side by side you can kind of see the difference. So this is a bit shorter, but you can see a lot more growth in the base here compared to this guy right here. That's what pinching and doing this to your plant will do. This one here that I just showed, also because it's on the sun, it's been acclimating. It's already getting its leaves to be nice and dark. This is the puma pepper. It is beautiful. I'll try to put a clip here to show how it looked like last year. And broccoli, doing good. Peas are also growing quite fast. And let's go check out the peas up here too. They're all doing very nice. These ones are getting very long, and those ones over there. Those two are the magnolia tender peas. As I've mentioned, they're very vigorous growers, so they're growing quite faster than these guys. And check this out. I already have a little baby radish. It's very tiny now, but it's so fun and exciting to see the color of it coming up. That's supposed to be a French breakfast radish, and I have moved this just to get a little bit more sun, but it will live right next to the share to climb up over that thing once it gets a bit bigger. The chive flower bulbs here just looks like they're about to burst out with some flowers pretty soon. They're looking very nice and fat. The thyme here is doing very nice too, starting to grow much faster. And the green stalk, so beautiful. I love how all of this purple looks against the green, and some of this very dark red. It's just so nice. I can't get over it, and I love watching it grow so much. The pear tree is now full of leaves. It has a bunch of new leaves too. And let's check that out. A bee was just visiting. That's one of the most exciting sights of the garden. I love seeing those beneficial insects come here and find some food. I have to tell you, this garden just makes me so happy. I sometimes can't believe that I'm here in New York City in this concrete jungle, and I'm still able to grow some food and have this nice beautiful greenery around me. So I can't help but feel humbled by this gift of gardening and how beneficial it was to me when I sowed my first seeds and decided to tend to my first garden. And now it led me to this beautiful green space that I can enjoy, and feel so happy when I notice these little things like a little bee. Not only the bees, but also the colors and all this new growth. I'm heavily influenced by my environment, and living in lots of beautiful places like I did before moving to New York City, it made me really crave some colors and beauty around me when I moved here. And I just found myself being very grumpy and sad and irritated quite often, and all the noise and the stimulus here in New York City. And now that I have this green and this beauty, I can't really help but feel so grateful and so thankful that I was able to find this gift, you know, this joy that it comes with tending to a garden. And I'm gonna tell you, the same way that I tend to the garden definitely tends to me, because as soon as I come out here with my cup of coffee and I notice that ray of sunshine hitting a leaf in a different way, or all of this new growth and a new flower that had just opened, my mind instantly just feels calmer, and I'm able to start my day in a different way, in a more centered way. So spring is such a great season for me, you know, coming out of winter. As someone that has grown in the tropics and lived most of my life in the tropics, and I had all this greenery around me all the time, it is such a joy to watch all of this grow and to surround myself with all of this beauty again. So this little garden just fills my heart with joy. And to think that soon this is all going to be some food to nourish our bodies. And there's no also such feeling of eating homegrown food, tending to your garden, and getting the reward of eating this beautiful, fresh, nutritious produce right at your doorstep. So I know that most of you here are probably already gardeners, and if you're not yet, and if you live in an urban area and just looking to start and looking for some encouragement, let this be your encouragement, and know that you can do it too. If I'm doing this in New York City, I'm growing all of this stuff in this little backyard, we just have to start and be open-minded and know that you're going to make mistakes, and know there are some things that are not going to work out well, but instead of getting frustrated, I invite you to look at them as lessons. Like maybe if you try something different next time, it would work out in a different way. I actually love this about gardening, how it challenges me and how I have to be problem solving all the time. I would plant something somewhere and be like, this one's not growing as much as that one, and try to figure that out, or just observing and noticing that these things happen. You know, it's such a grounding experience for me, and I hope that you can experience this too. But before ending this video, I have actually planned to show you the tomato progress before I start recording. They have grown a lot since I repotted them, so I'm gonna head inside and show you how they're looking. So as you can see here, if you watched my other videos, I had another shelf right in between here. I had to take it off because the tomatoes are growing so fast and I wanted to accommodate their growth after they got repotted, and they're doing really good. There are a few other things still here inside in the grow rack. I have some flowers that I have started a little later, so they are sprouting and starting to show up in here. Some more tomato varieties back there. The ones that were smaller, not growing as fast, I still kept them in here because as you can see, I can only fit 4 trays in here. So the biggest ones, the ones that are growing the most, I put it up here, and the ones that still have some room to grow are living down here. And I have also moved my sweet potato down to the grow room. This is one from the video that I have filmed, how to start how to grow your own sweet potato leaves. It took a really long time, much longer than the Japanese sweet potatoes. So you can see here there's some nice root. Let me take it out. You can see some roots, nice and healthy in there. And the reason why I put in here is because my cat was going up the window and nibbling on them. So I just put it in here to protect them a little bit more. There's some more eggplants down here too. They will soon join the ones outside to start getting acclimated. And some of this very cute basil that I got at the Baker Creek fundraiser for Ukraine. It's growing very nicely. And back here, there's some more peppers and more basil. Everyone is looking really good. And this here are some more tomatoes that are still small and still fit here, so there's tomatoes everywhere. Some more peppers and the zinnia in here. Gotta bring these outside. And up here, I got a couple of lemon verbena that I actually got at the Union Square Market. I know, I can't really control myself when I go there. I always come back with something. There's 2 lemon verbena seedlings from there, and the back is all peppers still. Oh, one more thing. Check out my butterfly pea over here. It needs to go outside. It's a tropical plant, so it likes the warmer weather. So I was waiting a little bit to put them out, but they are outgrowing the grow lights as well. And that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching this little update. I really appreciate you being here. If you're new here and you came from the little focaccia video that I have posted on the shorts, I'm so happy that you found this channel, that you were here too. I'm going to be posting some more fun cooking stuff with the harvest from the garden really soon, I hope. If you have any questions about anything, as always, don't hesitate to put them in the comment section down below. I try to reply to each one of them. And if you always comment, thank you so much. I love to get in touch with you and knowing more about yourself and your garden too. So thank you again. I hope you're having a great day. And as always, don't forget to like this video if you can, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And I'll see you next time.